All right, I'm back over here on Boulder Highway. This is the Don's DI. You saw this in the previous video when I came here with Gary Mavers. We weren't really happy with what was going on with the car. They've had my 1967 Rolls-Royce in here for about 4 months, I think. Now, they've done work on it before that I was happy with. I brought it in because it was spilling coolant. Mostly the window motors. We replaced all 4 window motors, which they had to take them all apart. I bought new window motors and had them shipped in. That was a debacle we'll talk about. So that was about $2,000 worth of parts or more. Their bill, I think, is going to be over $1,000. So that means I'm going to have $3,000 to $4,000 trying to get these window motors working. So this is what it is to have a Silver Shadow or a Corniche or any of that era of Bentley or Rolls-Royce. It's very difficult to find somebody that's even willing to work on it. That's why Gary Mavers came over here all the way from Liverpool to work on my car, and he may or may not be coming back again. Let's go see if they actually fixed it this time. Look at this thing. Somebody brought a Bentley Azure in here that they're working on. Hoovy had one of these. Man, these are nice. Always like these. And it's got that really dark blue. I don't care for this cream interior, man. It needs to be cleaned. It blows me away to see a car like this and the dude doesn't even bother cleaning it. Right? Like, just take some cleaner and clean it. Wipe off the, So it's not being maintained properly if he's not wiping off the armrest. And this is what you got to be careful of when you're buying these cars, And the way this top works is pretty, that this thing lifts up like that. You can see how it seals. Anyway, where's my rig? There it is. Let's take a look at this thing. It's supposed to be ready. Nice. Man, you gotta love these Rolls-Royce cars, man. This thing is filthy. Sounds good. You hear that pump running. Okay, now, what is this? Is this a seal or is that just rust? That's just rusty coolant. I could definitely see some rust around the top of this core here. Interesting. This thing is super rusty in there. And it's also almost bone dry, but not quite. Beautiful. Needs a car wash. Air conditioner running. Up a little prouder now. But I complained about this high idle. We got a high idle. Pump is running like crazy. A lot of heat coming out of here. We got the air conditioner running. The air conditioner is cold though. Oil pressure's high. Amps are good. Yeah, see, it says cold. And the cooling light's on. Nice cold air though. Nice and cold. They left the door panels off so I could work on them, but they didn't put the door handles back on. I couldn't get out of the car. I had to roll the window down. Getting some gas. I love paying 3 times as much for everything. It's fantastic. So look at this. We got all the wood and got all the wood, the door panels, all that stuff here. We're gonna work on all that. We're gonna repaint all of that. We're gonna work on all the wood. So this is the inside of one of these cars. The issue with these windows, the reason they're so way overcomplicated is you have a brake. This solenoid brake is normally closed. That puts a brake on the window so it cannot be moved. When you engage the window, this solenoid pulls in to release the brake. This motor drives a bicycle chain
up and down. That's why they pull so much power, because you've got this solenoid retracting while this motor is running, operating a very heavy window. So like it's just a huge power draw. So one of the things you want to do is just put the most amount of power that you can into the car. And I know this thing looks terrible right now. It needs to be washed. This is why I put this big industrial 1000-amp battery in here. I had to cut it to fit because the regular battery that fits in here just doesn't put out enough power. In my opinion, I might add another battery in here, 2 batteries. I gotta clean all this up. All this has to be put back together. Whole car is gonna get cleaned up majorly. So that bill was $1,300. So I'm like $4,000 into these windows. The motors, the brakes, the switches that I replaced, all those things. So when you buy one of these cars, this is the kind of stuff you have to do. You got to spend a lot of money. So I paid $10,000 for the car. I'm over $10,000 into the repairs, and I'm still not done. 26 gallons I just put in this thing. I don't know how much it's supposed to hold. $134. Holy shit. Hippie's ready. It's got a full tank now, so at least the air conditioner works. All right, well, made it back to the house. I gotta work on putting all this back together. It's not overheating. It was getting in the warm territory, but who knows how well that gauge works at all. It's not puking any water right now. The air conditioner's been running, it's idling. It's not a super hot day, but it's toasty. It's doing okay. A little electric fan that was added is working its little ass off. Hippie said he didn't see the brake lights coming on. So, need to check into that. Stereo's working. Air conditioning is ice cold. Not ice cold, but it's comfortable in here. But these Lucas gauges, I mean, they don't really tell you temperature. They just say cool or hot. That's in the normal range, but we're not even to the hot part of time yet in Vegas. I've only gone 3 miles. So we're gonna do a little detail on the car, clean it up, and then we'll follow up on this on some of the other work later. It's a little update on this thing today. Picked it up. Not really much of an update. I did put the door handle on. It's not attached. I need to put a screw in there. This looks like heck. This door is ready to go back together, but we're gonna clean up the leather. I'm probably gonna clean up all this wood. Don't worry, guys. I'm not gonna paint it, but I am probably gonna re-clear it. I gotta fix some of those little bad spots, like right there. But this wood's kind of nice. It just needs to be sanded and then re-cleared. I need to do it very carefully so I don't go through the veneer. Anyway, so yeah, I talked to the guys there at DI, Don's, whatever, and I told them, I said, people are not kind to you in the comments at the videos, and the car's been there 4 months while you're working on this stuff, and the truth is they just weren't working on it. They're waiting on parts here and there. This is a 1 or 2 day job or whatever. I mean, it's some work. Don't get me wrong, it's some work. It's definitely some work. But you got to think about the money I've spent on this car. So if you buy a running, driving Silver Shadow or Corniche at any price, and it's leaking and things aren't working, just whatever you spend on the car, you're going to spend the equal amount on the car, at least. You can't not spend 10 grand on one of these things. So that's just how it is. So that's why these cars are so cheap, because you see them out there 5, 10 grand, 15 grand, but nothing works. So when I'm finished with this car, it's going to be a nice clean car with working air conditioning, working windows, and you'll be able to drive it. Because if you can't take it out and drive it, what good is it? And here in the United States, unless you live up in the northern parts or whatever, you're going to need air conditioning. And if you're going to have air conditioning, it's going to be hot outside, which means you need it to cool well so it doesn't overheat. And those two things are just at war with each other, with every classic car, with every car period, other than modern vehicles. And so, I mean, there was cars that you buy right off the showroom floor back in the 70s and 80s that would overheat. You know, they used to put up signs out here in the desert in Las Vegas that would say, turn off air conditioners going through the desert. So you'd be going through Death Valley, 120 degrees, and they want you to turn the air conditioner off because the cars back then just couldn't handle it. They just could not handle it. And I'm in the frickin' desert. Las Vegas is in the desert. Just because we build all these nice buildings and plant a couple of trees doesn't mean you're not still in the desert. Now, a lot of these cars went to the Middle East. A lot of sheiks were driving these things, right? And they survived out there. This is a very robust car. You just got to get it dialed in, and that's what we're doing. So stay tuned. More Rolls-Royce content coming. I got a lot of work to do. I got to get to work. I'll catch you guys later. There it goes. I knew that was going to happen. Look at the water's rusty. We need to do a full flush of the radiator. I think that this pop-off valve needs to be replaced. I'm going to pull this and figure out. I think this is the problem, that it's letting loose too early. All this rust and everything. We're going to have to do probably just pull this radiator out and clean it. But it's not supposed to do that.